Hey everybody, welcome back to my podcast and thank you so much for joining me. So I asked everybody to send me some questions, some training questions or, behavior issues. Let me know what's going on. So I first thought, hey, I'm going to get things like, why does my dog eat poop? Those are simple ones, but oh no, we're going to start off with a bang. First question, Christine, thank you. Because honestly, this is the kind of question I love. You're asking me how I feel about something. So Christine sent me a message and asked me how I felt about watching the videos online or on Facebook of the officers abusing their dogs. The officers, I've seen two. So I've seen the one of the officer holding his dog up in the air by the collar, and I've seen the other one of the officer punched his dog in the side of the face. Okay. Y'all seen the pictures, y'all seen the videos, so I'm sure you've also read all the comments, how this officer should be fired, all these things, how horrible this is, oh my God. You have no understanding of this type of dog. This isn't a Shih Tzu, Poodle, Doodle, Snoodle, whatever the hell they're breeding now. This is a purebred, hardcore, working line, high energy, high drive, instinctive canine. These dogs are high power. How do I know? I raise them. Some dogs go to police departments, and that is a very few out of litters. These are special dogs. These are dogs that can handle anything that comes at them. These are dogs that can take punches to the side of the head, kicks in the gut. Now, I'm not saying the officers are doing this. These are from criminals. When a dog they take them down, they're doing everything. They'll stab him, they'll shoot him, everything possible to get this dog off him before the officers get there. But this special dog won't take it, won't allow it. You beat on this dog, he digs in a little deeper. So let me start off with a scenario. This is a day in a canine's life. They get up in the morning, like any other dog, but their partner gets up and puts his uniform on. Well, then this dog starts doing a little dance. He's giddy. He knows he's going to work because this is his life. This is his love. This is what he was bred to do. The officer puts on his duty belt, gets even intenser because there's the sound of the duty belt. There's the smell of the duty belt. There's everything. We're going to work. So they get to work. They jump in their patrol car and they take off. Average day, but this dog's still intense because he knows he's working. He's not in the back seat of his own car. He's in the back seat of a patrol car. Things happen around there. So, officer gets a call. Let's say a carjacking, an armed carjacking. Suspect took a lady out of her car and stole her car. So they're on the lookout. Officers talking to dispatch. Other officers are talking. They're trying to find this car. So things are getting a little tense in the car. Immediately, that amps your dog a little bit more. It takes them to another level. Now they've found the car. Now they're in pursuit of this car. They're chasing this car. Voices are getting louder, more intense. Officers getting intense. Things are getting faster. And this dog's in the back seat going nuts. Because he gets to go to work. This is it. This is it. I'm working. The suspect crashes that car. Suspect gets out of the car and runs. Officer pops the door. Dog jumps out. Command to go get him. Dog's in full mode. He's running as fast as he can. You could hear his breath. You can literally hear a dog's heartbeat when they're in this mode. You can hear it. He's that amped. He gets to the suspect. He takes the suspect down by the leg. The suspect starts fighting with the dog, punching him in the face, grabbing his ears, punching him in the side, kicking him with his free leg, doing whatever possible to try to get this dog off his leg. But all it does is digs him in deeper. So if you ever get bit by a canine, lay still, and it won't be as bad. Well, you can hope for that, but this is where the dogs get amped. They're taking this abuse from criminals. They're so amped right now. Now, if you've ever heard the term red line, now you hear this from humans. I got so angry I blacked out. People kill other people in that so-called blackout. But we expect a dog to pull off a bite, a heavy situation like this, and just go back to normal? Sometimes they do. Most times they do. But there's those few times that they get so amped, they redline. They stay in full bite mode. So now you have other officers joining in. They're trying to handcuff this guy, roll him over, put handcuffs on him. They're yelling at him. This dog's still on bite. He's still getting kicked around. He's getting even harder now because the officers are fighting with the subject. The subject's fighting with the officers, except for that one leg. It's on the ground. Now, the officer steps in to take his canine back to control. He pulls the dog off. Now this dog is still in full bite mode. He wants to bite. He wants to dig back in there again. This guy hurt him. He's going for it. But the problem is the officer has a hold of him. So this dog doesn't look up at faces and recognize. He's just grasping out at everything there is. This officers get bit a lot. Officers who don't work these dogs get bit in situations like this. So the canine officer has to, at this moment, take control of the situation. And sometimes they're able to just pull him up in the air and calm him down, pull him back to reality. Now, if you've ever heard the term slapping him back into reality, that was one of my father's favorite terms. And it worked. Now that's your choice. You only have a couple choices when the dog redlines like this, and you have to bring him back as quick as you can. Because otherwise it can get worse and worse and worse and worse, and somebody's going to get hurt. Now again, this is a highly, highly trained dog. These are not toys. These are nothing to play games with. Now, see, if I get a very high drive dog, I keep it. I hang on to it until I find the perfect person. I have one in my kennel right now. His name is Checo. Checo was a very extremely high drive dog. And if he was in the wrong hands, it may not turn out good. So this is why breeders are very specific to where their animals go. They can go over the top. Now this officer, he has a choice. Do I just battle him here? Do I take a chance of getting bit? Because what does the officer have between him and the dog? He's got a flimsy leash. And there's no control there if they're coming at you. He took his dog to the ground. Now I'm talking about the officer that punched his dog in the face. He took his dog to the ground. And the dog continues to fight, continues to bite. He's full on red line. The officer has a choice. Well, I can't let this dog up to go bite somebody and go, you put a bullet between its ears, that shuts him up really quick. Which very seldom happens. Doesn't sound good, but it's true. Or he can slap him back to reality. Now, slapping a dog back in reality, he punched it in the side of the cheek. Good Lord, people, if you knew these dogs and you knew what they're like, that was a tickle. He may have shook that dog's brain a little bit like, hey, get back. That's what it takes sometimes to pull a dog off a red line. And then there's other extreme measures. But if you have no understanding to these dogs, there's nothing you can say. Stop yourself if you're watching these videos. The officer that had the dog up in the air, man, he was doing that dog a favor. He could have done way worse. That was easy. If you've ever watched sport dogs, or how these type of dogs, these high energy German Shepherds or Malinois or whatever they're taking, you have no clue what they have in their hands and how the training is so critical. But just like a human, these dogs can slip too. So be very careful when you start asking for an officer to be fired, or you start calling the department demanding this officer be fired for taking control over his partner. You need to look at it. He may have just saved his dog's life. Because if he can't go back to work, there's not much else there for him. These are highly trained police dogs. They can't turn around and go, hey, you want to adopt my dog? That's not how it works. If they're out of control and they're kept out of control and this goes on, they're put down. There's a reason why a lot of military dogs never make it home. Now think about it. He saved his dog's life. He put his dog back in the patrol car and went right on with their duty the rest of the day. Now, personally, before you start calling animal control on me, I have slapped a dog back into reality. It was 10 years ago. It was my Ari, and she was giving birth, and I picked up her puppy because he was bleeding all over the place. Now, when this happens, you have, a choice. I had a choice to save this puppy, but I had a mother I was fighting with. She became so aggressive, trying to grab and snap at her puppy and lunging at me, trying to get me to get the puppy down. She kept lunging and snapping and biting. I'm trying to save this puppy's life. I've got, forceps down in its belly button because the belly button had torn out. It's squirting blood everywhere. This is a 1-pound puppy, newborn, tiny, fits in my hand. How long do you think before it's going to bleed out? So it's a 4-hand job. I only have 2. And one of them was fighting with a dog, and the other one was holding the puppy. I had a choice. Save this puppy or let it die. I hauled off and punched her right in the face, and she came at me again. She sat back and just watched me the rest of the time. I slapped her back into reality. I was able to save that puppy, get that umbilical cord all tightened back up and healing up, and I gave him back to her mother. Now, luckily, I've never had to deal with this again, but I have that concept of slapping him back in reality. I've had a dog turn on me once, out of the blue. We were training. He'd had enough. He was done. Well, I had to put him on the ground, and I didn't put him on the ground nicely. This isn't for fun. This is a discipline. I am in control. If more people would actually take control, I'm not asking you to punch your dog in the face. If you would discipline your dog more, you will have a hell of a dog. But we tend to treat them like little humans. Now these working dogs, these police dogs, they can be the best dog that officer's ever had. But when they redline, they have to take that chance. They have to make that choice. It comes down to the life of your dog or another officer getting bit. You hear it all the time. Dogs are so focused, they go after what steps in front of it. It's another officer. They're going to grab that leg. They're going to grab them, take them down. So I hope I've explained this good enough for you to have a little understanding of this isn't a normal dog. This is not normal training. These dogs are phenomenal dogs. Highly trained. And I have a lot of people that ask me, will you help me train my dog to bite? And the first thing I say is, do you got 2 years? Because this isn't an overnight thing. I'm not going to teach your dog to bite and send your dog home with you. I won't do it. This is not only a huge liability, but it's a huge responsibility to own a dog that can bite someone. Because it's not just the bite. You have to have the discipline, the control, the heavy obedience. There's so much more to it. And these police dogs have every aspect of that. But when they go through what they go through, then you'll have an understanding of why this happens. If you've ever been in a situation where things have gotten out of control and you're so scared you're shaking, now you think about this dog, that's your adrenaline. This dog's so amped. This is what happens. So again, I hope I explained this to you good enough. Thank you for the questions again. And you guys, if you have more questions, send them to me. I love doing this. I love dabbling in the minds of the dogs. This is what I do. I don't think I spend a night that I don't go to bed and start, nitpicking on one of the dogs or a dog at training, trying to figure out why did this happen or why that happened. And I've had some pretty crazy scenarios with my dogs. And it's been awesome to learn this. And this isn't something that I just knew. This is something I've been learning for 20 years. Not only watching mothers with their puppies, but watching these puppies mature and how they're trained makes a massive amount of difference. So you guys shoot me some more messages. This has been fun. I hope I helped you understand it. So next time it pops up, question: what led up to this? What caused this dog to need to be slapped back into reality? Because that officer did his partner a huge favor. You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. See you later.